What's up, people? I'm Old Spy, and welcome back to the Bloodborne walkthrough. So last episode we defeated the Cleric Beast, our first boss, and now we are going to head back into Yharnam to take on the second boss and do our second loop through Yharnam. Before we do that, let's make sure we repair our equipment, and we can do a little bit of leveling up.
Welcome. What is it? Very well.
So I explained our leveling goals in the last episode, so we're just going to continue on with that. And looking good. We're going to aim to get these to 20 first, then we'll level them out. Probably put one in Arcane and then shoot for the soft caps. Alright, looking good there.
Farewell, good hunter.
Let's go ahead and head back into Yharnam. So, this is what I like to call our second Yharnam loop. And once again, we're going to go through and we're going to be killing all the enemies that we see. Because one of our early goals is to continue to stack up blood vials and quicksilver bullets. We want as many as we can possibly get. So we're going to head through here. And we're back over here with the dogs. Go ahead and take them out while they're in their cages. Sorry, Pooch. Cold blood. NPC right there starts talking to us. Make sure if you're following up with the NPCs that you talk to her. Lure this guy up. Alright, so we got two ways that we can go here. We can go down there or smash through the barrels and drop down out here, which is the way we're going to go. So we got some items up here. Cold blood, and then we've got two hanging from chains. What I recommend is extending the saw cleaver, which gives us way less of a chance to swing ourselves off and fall down, which is really just more of a hassle than anything. There we go. Alright. So, one last thing up here. If we head out here, got an NPC. Now, I'm going to talk and interact with her because there's a couple items that I want to get, but also because if we exhaust her dialogue here, it'll progress her storyline, which will give us access to a few things later on that we want to get. So we're going to go ahead and deal with her. And you can pay attention to all the dialogue. But we get a bold hunter's mark and a gesture.
What are you?
Alright, so this is what I'm talking about. So she keeps repeating her line. That's when you know they're done. And that's when you can move on. So two things here. Whoops. You press on the PS4, if you press the top part of the touchpad, the top right part, takes us to our personal effects, which is where we're going to use the bold hunter's mark. We're going to put that in there. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us at any point to return to the last lamp that we were at. So whether we started there or whatever, we can just go back there without losing any of our blood echoes. Now you also have a hunter's mark in your inventory, but that will cost you, it'll do the same thing, it'll take you back to the lamp, but it'll cost you all of your blood echoes. So we definitely don't want to use that ever. And we're going to rely on our bold hunter's marks. And you'll be able to buy them from the messenger bath back at the dream. So now we got that slotted. The other thing is, if you touch the top left part of your touchpad, you get your gestures. And we're going to go ahead and set ours up. Use triangle to switch them. I'm going to put them in order here. And really, this is just for fun for me. There's no bearing. This has no bearing on the game or anything like that, with an exception to one gesture later on in the game. Alright, so now we can continue on. And what I like to do is I like to go back to where we would have come in if we had taken the stairs and drop down here. Pop off. And now I'll be able to demonstrate how to get basically the backstabs of Bloodborne, which is our critical, into our visceral. So what you need to do is you need to get behind an enemy and do a fully charged R2, and then walk up and hit R1 to get your visceral attack. Don't have to sneak up on an enemy. You can just be moving around and they can be well aware of you. And as long as you land that fully charged R2, didn't get it. As long as you land that, you're going to get the opportunity for a visceral attack, and you'll hear the sound, and you'll see them kind of stagger, and that will be your clue to do that. Bloodstone shard. Right, so you can see our items that we just knocked down are down there, and we'll get them in just a minute. So when you come out here, you want to be a little bit careful. If you take a peek, you can see we got 2 gunners, and then we got a big guy back there. So what we want to do is we want to run, and we want to take out at least one of these guys. So keep something in between you and the gunner while we fight this guy. Whoops. There we go. Alright, now he's out of the way. Pick up our blood vial. Alright, so we kill this guy. I do want to point out something here. If you watch when we pick up these Quicksilver bullets, because we're at 20, we're at max, you will see the green background with that's actually the item box. So what that means is if your inventory on your character, if your personal inventory is full, it will send those items straight to your item storage so that you can continue to pick up items and you don't have to worry about being like, not really overburdened, but having your stash full. It will just send it straight to your item box back at the Hunter's Dream, and you can... Most items it will replenish automatically when you rest and go back. So let's say I had 15 blood vials. If I have some in my stock when I go back to the Hunter's Dream, or when I come back to an area, it will automatically replenish from my stock. It's really convenient. It just keeps you from having to like leave items on the ground or whatever else. The oil urn. Got another drop down here. Once again, line your head up. And drop down. Alright, so now we can go back and get the items that we knocked down from the ceiling. And this really doesn't matter which order you pick them up in, whatever side you feel like dropping down first. Just be aware of the rats. You can see You know, they're kind of a silly enemy, but they can do some damage, so you do need to be a little bit careful when you've got multiple rats on the screen. Madman's Knowledge. Oops. Throwing knives are actually cool. Oh yeah, I forgot to point out, things like the pebbles and the throwing knives are really useful because Bloodborne likes to throw a lot of the weaker enemies in groups. So you can use those items to throw at individuals to kind of lure them out and thin the herd. So really useful. Especially because the throwing knives will actually scale. Actually, maybe they don't. Some of the items do scale, such as the Molotovs. I think I already pointed that out, though. Alright, so now we have our second weapon that we're going to be using for the playthrough, the saw spear. So you can see very similar to the saw cleaver, except for when you extend it, you get two different things. The first thing is you get the serrated damage in both forms, whereas with the cleaver, you only get that kind of damage when it's folded. When you extend it, you get the blade side and you don't get any serrated damage. With the spear, you do, and you also get thrusting attacks, which are going to be very useful in the later half of the game, the second half of the game. So we've got two pieces of pretty basic equipment, but they're going to play different roles, which is going to give us just enough variety in our attacks to really navigate the game smoothly. Alright, so now you can see this is where we dropped down earlier. We're kind of back there. So we've almost come full circle here. You really don't need to worry about fighting these guys. Pick up a bloodstone shard. Just kind of run through here. So we got a big enemy down there that we're going to take on here in just a minute, but I would recommend playing on the side of caution and going up this way so we can unlock a shortcut. Ride this up here and come out. We got these two guys. We'll take them on obviously one at a time. Shining coins. And the shining coins, what they are is items that you can drop down on the ground to kind of let you know that you've already been there. We'll go ahead and throw them on our personal effects. I really don't use them. They can be useful in a area later on, but I really don't mess with them. But they can be kind of fun. So if you come up here, you can see that we're back at the lantern. And we're going to continue on. Go ahead and head back down and take care of business down here. Alright, so what I recommend is sprinting down this tunnel trying to get behind this guy. There we go. Fully charged to R2 into a very disgusting and disturbing visceral attack. Get the Saw Hunter's badge. Some cold blood. So if we go over to our key items and we take a look, we've got 2 hunter badges, which will open up extra items, new consumables, and new weapons in the messenger bath shop as you go. So the more of those you pick up, the better your inventory selection will be for the shop. So we've already got 2, and we'll check that out here in just a little bit. Alright, so what I'm going to do, because we're at 18 with the Quicksilver, I'm going to go ahead and press up on the D-pad, which is going to make us some blood bullets. So now you can see we're at 18 plus 5. Go ahead and top off, because we should get a few blood vials. But we're going to need the Quicksilvers for the boss fight. So we head down here, we're going to play a little bit of bowling. Guys out. Easy way to clear the bridge. You can see we're back to 20 with our blood vials. Now here, usually the big guy is more aggressive than the shield guy. So we'll draw him down here, take care of him first. And then we'll do our R1. Didn't even need to there. Alright. If you would have continued where we killed the big old pig, you would have continued down the tunnel. You can actually come up here. So do note that if you want to skip the bridge and all this stuff, you can slide right on up here. Now, coming around this corner, you want to be pretty cautious. What we're going to do is we're going to sneak up behind this guy. We're going to get a visceral attack here. That's going to take him out of the way. Now we can deal with this guy. Oof. Be careful. These guys do hit hard. Got lucky there. Oops. Always, I recommend topping off your health before you pick up items, because chances are you're going to get a blood vial. And if you do that, instead of sending it to the storage, it will top off your maximum. Like that. Got a couple more bold hunter's marks. And now, it is time for, and I know I say this is the best and I have a lot of favorites as we go through, but this is my absolute favorite boss in Bloodborne.
Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them, sooner or later.
Okay, so there's a few strategies for this boss. Some people like to kite him around these headstones and down here and fight him like that and get their shots in and run away. I find that to be a little more difficult because you can run into stuff, you can get stuck, and a lot of things can go wrong for me down there. So what I like to do is I like to bring him up here where it's nice and clean and fight him pretty much straight up. See, he's got limited range on that. When he rolls, if you shoot him towards the end of his roll, you're going to get a visceral attack every time. So I just like to kind of go back and forth up here. Get the viscerals.
What's that smell? The sweet blood.
Now he's going to go into phase 2, where he extends his weapon. He can be a little more difficult here. Again, catch him on the roll. Whoops. Stay topped off. So he's going to be going into third form here pretty soon, so you want to rush in. We didn't get any hits on him, but we should be alright. So now he gets super aggressive. Now, if you want to escape him when he's in this form, and we're going to actually... Oh, going to get killed. So what I was actually getting ready to say, and I got caught between thinking about what I wanted to do there and actually doing it, was when he's coming after you in that form, what you want to do is you want to go at him for your dodges. If you try to dodge away like I did there, because I was actually trying to get out of there and reset. But if you go towards him, you'll be able to dodge around him. If you try to roll away like I did there, he's going to hit you because he moves very fast and he covers a lot of ground. And he always goes in the forward direction. So if you get behind him, he's going to have a harder time getting you. Alright, no big deal. We're going to go ahead and head back in. We got our first death out of the way early. Once again, dying is a part of these games. It's gonna happen. Sometimes it happens to bosses. Sometimes it happens to really stupid enemies that you should never die to, but it's just part of the game. So I will show you if the unthinkable happens to you. Head back this way. You might as well kill this boar. Snag some souls and then oops. Ooh. Also, this will give me an opportunity to show you something that I forgot. So you may want to equip that blood vial to give you a little extra healing if you need it, but also the music box, which I forgot to show you on the first attempt. And typically I don't use it, but it can be helpful if you're having a really hard time with this boss. So we come up here, we're behind all this stuff. We actually don't even need to worry about any of that. Don't need to worry about those guys. Whoops, let's go ahead and use that. Top off. Okay. There's our blood echoes. No harm, no foul. Back out of way of his... Oops. Let me get in rhythm here. Also, do be aware if you're trying to get away from bosses, don't spam the dodge button, because in a lot of cases it will just send you right back at the boss. I don't want that. Oh, that's not good. So I will demonstrate the music box this time around. Reset him, bring him back this way. Play the music box. Oh, that didn't work. Oh. Alright, so that's what the music box does. It stuns him right there. I don't know why he keeps doing that attack. Probably because he hates me. There we go. And that is the boss. So it may take you a few times to defeat that boss. He really represents a kind of a shift in the way you know when you go through Yharnam, how you have to play the game, because he gets real aggressive and he's super fast, and it really kind of steps up. So if you have to fight him a few times, that's fine, but that's how I recommend you fight him up there instead of messing around down here, because trying to dodge his attacks, you get caught in corners like this, and it's just much easier to learn the mechanics of the game by fighting him up there rather than down in this mess. Light this lamp. It will be useful later, but it's not a, you know, major focal point of the game. Alright. Trying to think of any other tips for that. We can get rid of the music box, no longer useful. And now we can open up this gate. So we recovered nicely from our first death. I will show you that item that we picked up in just a minute here. I want to get into the next area. When you're coming through here, do make sure that you open up this chest. Got the blood gem workshop tool, so now we can add blood gems to our weapons to also increase damage. Alright, so come in, you got yourself an NPC here, make sure you talk to him. Go ahead and light the lamp, and what I would recommend, as you can see, we can do some discovery, we can do some, you know, some wandering around here, but we only have 9 quicksilvers and 13 blood vials, so if you go ahead and return to the Hunter's Dream, it will restock those. Alright, so 2 bosses down. We're going to go ahead and call it right there. We will continue on in the next area when we come back on the next episode.